Welcome back to First Seasons, everybody. It is week 30 of this project. We have building wrap on, we have windows going in, we've got the roof being finished, we've got flashing going around on the roof. This is kind of sort of more in keeping with like how fast we like our projects to move forward. It's amazing the difference that you have when you deal with a municipality that gets answers and gets things back to you quickly versus others that take a long time. It makes a huge difference. We've also had very few changes and very few issues like pop up with the house and with this project. It's been pretty straightforward. So, we're flying through this one really, really well. But we've got a ton of stuff going on. We've got, like I said, building wrap is on. This house is now watertight, good to go there. They're working on the metal fascia right now. So we've got the drip cap going on up there. And then there'll be another metal fascia that's gonna slide underneath that, which will finish off those fascia parts there. Now, if you're ever applying metal to the outside of your home, you really do always wanna put some Tyvek or building paper, something behind it. Because what can happen is over time, you can get condensation forming behind the metal and it can start to rot out your plywood and your structure. So you always just wanna make sure that you put some sort of building paper, building wrap, whatever. If you want to go like crazy, you could use peel and stick. Something, right? Use something between framing or wood and metal. It'll make everything last a lot longer. Let's dive in and check out what's going on inside the house. We're in the sunken living room area here, and Kyle just mentioned, like, God, there's so much ceiling height in here. And he's right, there is. You can see here where the top of the old exterior wall is, and we've extended that 3 more feet and then vaulted it. So we've got this massive amount of space up here. It just feels so grand and special. It's really, really an amazing home. Amazing, like the view out here, everything. Incredible, incredible home. So again, just a reminder, right? We're gonna have a fireplace here. We've got an inset for a television up here. We like to sink our televisions back into the wall as much as possible. I know there can be headaches and hassles with doing that because if you want to get a different TV or the size changes, then the opening changes. I know, that is a downside to be sure. But it sure is nice to walk into a room and not see the side of a TV and see all of the cables and the mounting bracket and all that sort of stuff. Like when you can recess your TV so it's nice and clean, that is a really, really great way to go. Now, I believe there are some really interesting products that are available now where it's almost like 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch thick and the TV almost just like sticks right on the wall and you actually recess the guts into the framing. I haven't installed one of those TVs yet, but I certainly look forward to the opportunity to get to do that. Time will tell. So we've got a couple of insulated pipes here. This is the return and supply of the fresh air for the HRV, right? So one of these pipes is going to be sucking air from the outside in, and the other pipe is going to be pushing the air from inside out. And so those suckers are in, those are going down to the HRV, which is somewhere underneath me. We've got another duct here that I'm assuming is for the HRV and supplying fresh air to this space right here, which pops out up there and up there. We also have a schwack of pot lights in the ceiling, right? We got wires hanging from the ceiling. We've got speaker rings in the ceiling now. We've got, again, another TV and another fireplace on this side for the family room. So like kind of sort of sunken, grand living room there, cozy family room here. And then in here, we've got Matt's office / kitchen. So we'll have kitchen cabinets along there. I think there's even cabinets along there as well with cool windows that are actually part of the countertop detail. So that's gonna look really neat once that's all done. Really neat design feature. We got a ton of electrical going in here, low voltage. I think we've got on site today plumbers, electricians, and low voltage. I didn't go around and count how many people are here. We've also got roofers, we've got siding guys. So I think we're probably around like 15 to 20 people on site at this moment in time. And we've got a few of Team Sprucehill here as well, of course. And so, if you want your project to move ahead at a reasonable clip, it takes people to do it, right? And it's bodies. It's work to get these projects done. So the more people you can get on site, the faster your project can go. You really do need to balance, so, you know, having people walking on top of each other, because that then starts to bring production down. So, you know, it's a balancing act, but you know, when you got a big enough house, you can stack a whole bunch of people in here, and everybody can work in different spaces, and it just takes some coordination and organization and collaboration, right? It's the way to do it. We've got the pantry in here, and we are in good shape, and we have got 2 dryer boxes. We'll have a look on the other side when we get there, but there's going to be 2 washers, 2 dryers, because they love their pets, so they've got a washer and dryer just for their dogs, and their dogs are just the cutest. And what I think makes it the best is how much they love their dogs. That's why this project is called First Seasons. This house is all about the dogs. This is a dishwasher going here. That is a sink going over there. We can tell that because that says dishwasher. That has hot and cold for the sink. And what does this say? Trap primer. Trap primer for the trap that is going underneath the washer and dryer, or the washer is over here. Let's go and have a look in this mudroom. All right, so officially this is not called the mudroom, it's called the laundry room, which makes more sense. So we have 2 dryers. Again, we use these on pretty much all of our projects. If you're not using them, I would strongly recommend that you do. It allows you to push your dryer that much further back into the room so you don't waste a bunch of space with your ducting. It allows for the ducting to actually go in behind and connect directly to these suckers right here. So good to go. We've got our water shutoffs all locked and loaded in here. I think they're working on putting a pressure test on everything today, making sure the water actually waters and doesn't leak water everywhere. We talked about the trap primer, that is that white pipe sticking, or clear pipe that's sticking out of the pantry over there. I mean, you don't need to put a drain underneath your washers, obviously. It's not a code requirement. But in my mind, it's just a little bit of peace of mind. Like if your washing machine should ever flood and have an issue, there's a place for the water to go. If you have a drain underneath your washer, because it's not going to see water on a regular, or hopefully it's not going to see water on a regular basis, you need to prime the trap underneath it. And the reason being is over time the water will evaporate, and once that water evaporates in the P-trap, that's when gas from the sewer can creep its way into your house and really make your house stink. So, you know, if you live in a home that has multiple bathrooms and you have a bathroom that maybe doesn't get used too often and it just starts to really stink or smell, chances are your P-trap has become dry. You just need to run some water in it and you'll be off to the races. So you just remember that you need to keep your P-trap full of water, because that water is what keeps the stinky sewer gas from coming into your house. Very important. Okay, so we are down in the basement here. We've got the vaulted ceiling. We've got all of the pot lights going in. We've got speaker rings down here as well. Over here, we've got even more wire coming down into the future mech room here that will have the electrical panel and whatnot in there. So that is looking really, really good. Just a ton of progress is being made. A ton of progress. There's still lots of little details that have to get done, right? But we're looking really, really, really good. I think we should go up and have a look at the deck that's now all finished, framed, and torched even, believe it or not, that fast since we were here. Let's go. We are on the deck off of that sunken living room that's over there with the fireplace and the TV and the insulated pipes for the HRV. We've got everything dialed in here. We were just talking about it at another project. You have a parapet deck. And again, we've got 4 walls here, except this is only a 6-inch tall wall. And the reason that's been done is because the client doesn't want it to be dripping on the outside of the house, which makes perfect sense. So we build a curb and we get this all done. So basically what's happened is this has been framed so that everything slopes this way and then it slopes towards those drains. And now, you know, when we were at the last project, I said 1 drain, 1 emergency minimum. Well, this deck is larger than that other deck. So this deck has 2 drains and it has the emergency overflow here. So if the client ever sees water coming out of that pipe, which we'll coach them on, they'll know that they've got a problem and they've got to get these drains cleared out. Should never be an issue here because there's going to be porcelain tile on top of here, and there really shouldn't be a lot of leaves and other crap that gets in there. But you know what? Murphy's Law always holds true. So you always want to make sure you have a backup plan. Okay, so I want to talk about plumbing pipes in walls and ticking. There's nothing more annoying than having your home make ticking noises, especially if you have ADD brain like me. Like, you hear all of the things you're not supposed to hear and few of the things you are supposed to hear. But in this case, we've got the vent for the Navion boiler that's going to be going in, and then we've got a plumbing vent as well. They look almost identical, but if you read the writing on the pipe, this is system 15, which is what we're using for the drainage on this project. And then this is system 636, which is for the boiler, right? One of the things that you want to make sure you do on any drainage that's going, or venting that's going on in your house, is if it's going to get warm, make sure there's lots of space in it, because otherwise it'll tick, right? So this sucker here is for the exhaust for the Navion. It is going to expand and contract as the Navion turns on and off. This, if it doesn't wiggle in the wall, you're gonna have a problem. I guarantee it. Now, if it's just for air behind water, who cares? Like, it's never gonna expand or contract. Now, conversely, if you have this pipe underneath your shower and you have the drainage for the pipe underneath your shower super tight and hard up against something, it will also tick. Same thing with your sink in your bathroom as well, right? Any place where the pipe can get warm, it will expand. And as it expands, it makes this really annoying ticking sound that drives me crazy. And it'll probably drive you crazy too. So just make sure any PVC pipe, any ABS pipe, make sure you've got space if there's a possibility that that pipe can get warm. Trust me. That's a wrap on today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe. Even if you don't, I'd sure appreciate the sub. In the meantime, if you have a home that you have been dreaming about renovating and changing how you live, we'd love to hear from you. You can reach us on the phone or find us on the web. We'd love to connect and be your partners in success. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.